Thank you, and thank you, Ceann Comhairle. And Minister, like all the other speakers, I have farmers coming into my own office from Burris, Bagnallstown, Tullow, Hackestown, Rathvilly and Carlow itself. So I've covered them all. And it's just so important. And they are coming in and they're telling me that they didn't get to sow winter corn, and they're talking about actually bringing back seed because they didn't get to sow. And it's a huge issue this year. Potato farmers are constantly on to me about how poor the conditions were to plant, and only 50 acres out of 21,000 has been planted this year by potato farmers. My understanding is this is unheard of. According to Teagasc, who we all know has a fabulous facility in Oak Park in Carlow, inclement weather has delayed the planting of crops and led to crop harvest failure, higher bedding and feeding, housing costs for those with farm animals, and generally has resulted in tougher farming conditions. So this is not just farmers talking, Minister, these are the statistics. The second half of 2023 was exceptionally wet, with numerous floodings across all the country, and the annual rainfall totals of above average at most stations. July 2023 was the wettest July on record, and there were 2 storms in August, more heavy rainfall events in late September, and record rainfall in the south for October, and above average rainfall for December, so says Meta Éireann. Now, and Minister, you know this means, of course, that down the line consumers will be hit because of the cost of, if you talk about potatoes, which means that the farmers won't be half as, you know, they won't stand, they won't be them, so there'll be a lack of potatoes, which means the farmers will be in uncompetitive footing there straight away. The land is still wet, so a lot of work you know, still can't be done, although there's nice weather now, thank God, the last few days, and there's a lot more tractors on the road. I see it myself when I was out canvassing there the last few days, the amount of tractors that are on the road and the amount of farmers, which is really welcome, but there's only been the few days. But we need a lot more spell, you know, of nice weather to repair what's after happening in the last few months, and Minister, it has done huge damage. Now the farmers also tell me that there's going to be a fodder shortage, which means that we will have to buy in fodder, which we don't know whether we can buy it in because conditions have been bad all around the world. So it's important that farmers get supports, and get supports now to combat these weather challenges. And Minister, my own 2 daughters are actually married to 2 small farmers. So I talk to the IFA daily, I talk to all the different, and I'm particularly listening to these 2 farmers, and they're telling me, like, if you have the small farmers, Minister, a lot of them are holding 2 jobs down, or a job down, because they're finding it hard to survive. And farmers work 7 days a week. It's not something you can say, oh, I'll forget it today for a day, I'll take a day off. You just can't do that. You have to have someone, whatever it is, on the farm at all times. And I think we have to, as a government, be very appreciative of the work that our farmers do for us and the work that they have done. Look, they got us out famines. They have done more work and brought this country back on its feet than anyone else I would know. And I think it is important that we appreciate and give our support that we can to the farmers. And, you know, from talking to the farmers, like, Minister, a lot of them are struggling. And we see climate change is going to be a huge issue going forward. But I know as a government, you both ministers there are committed to putting supports in place. And farmers do appreciate the supports. You know, when I talked to the Minister, you were in Carlow on many occasions in the last few months, you've spoken to the farmers, you know, you've heard their concerns, but we have to listen to them. We have to give them their supports. And if we don't do that, like, I know even speaking to farmers, a lot of them are telling me that the families, their sons or daughters, they don't want to stay in farming. And that to me would be an absolute disaster. So we have to give them the support, we have to work with the farmers, and we have to do the best we can. And just before my time is up, I just want to talk to you. You probably would have seen there recently, or there the last few days on the news, where Mount Leinster Minister has been on fire for the last 3 nights. And you know, I've been speaking to families, and there's a lot of families live in Mount Leinster, and you know, we have our you know, we have to be very mindful of our wildlife there as well, and families that live there. But I do also want to compliment all the fire service, the emergency services, the Gardaí that have been there for the last 3 nights, and it is worrying. And it's something that we might have to look at. But just to say, I just want to compliment everyone involved in that in Carlow. And look, again, Minister, I really just want to say I'm so honoured to work with the Carlows. Carlow farmers are we have a huge population in Carlow of farmers. And I just feel that once they know that they're being listened to, once we know that we can put supports in place for them, all they want is a bit of help, a bit of support. I know that the Carlow IFA had attended Carlow County Council meeting there a few weeks ago, and I was at it with them. And it was, it was very good that they're now, that they're going around the country, they're working with everyone. It is important, as they say as well, that we work with them, that we listen to them, and we do what we can to help and support our farmers. And as I said, Minister, Carlow is a really big farming area. And I just have said to them, and I will continue to say to them, that the government here is committed, you're committed, and that you will do what you can. And I have to say as well, it's not remiss of me if I don't, we had I believe the Taoiseach, and I met him myself in Carlow. He came into the office, he was in Carlow Friday, and I believe he met some of the farmers. And I think that's very welcome, that our Taoiseach was down in Carlow, met the farmers. I had told them already that you had been talking to them and had agreed to work with them as well. But I think all of us working together within government have to show that we are there to work with all farmers, big, small, medium. It doesn't matter. Every farmer is important to us, and that's the message I think we need to send out here today, that doesn't matter what bit of land you have, whether what size it is, we are there to work with you and give you our full support. Thank you.